All right. You can participate. Come on now, get up, get up, get up. Let's go, let's show some support. Yeah, y'all ain't got no rhythm, what's happening? You can't get down? Come on. How much did you pay for this concert? Come on. Yeah, let's go. Just got paid. Friday night. Woo! Y'all should be happy, we free. I know this ain't the graduates over here. Where my graduates at? Where my graduates at? Let's go, graduates. Show them how it's done. Woo! If you came to sit down, I suggest you go back home. All right, all right, all right. All right now, all right now, all right now. What's going on with seated section? Seated section, y'all tired. yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes.
Give it up one more time for Batala. Woo! Way to wake us up. Good evening, everyone. Oh, wait. Hold on. Did they
Let's just say
Wait.
good evening. How you doing?
I'm
I'm so glad you're here. What is going on?
Should we try it again?
No, because they didn't do it the
feel
first
like-
time.
I feel
You give second chances?
We giving second chances.
Third too?
Third too.
Fourth and fifth?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone.
Yeah. It's all about you. Yes, I don't know. They still a little. Come on, maybe we need to get a little higher.
Oh my gosh.
We in church. You can go. Thank you.
I'm a lady of a
Thank
certain
you.
age
Thank
now.
you. Yeah,
I
me
need
too.
a-
Come on.
I
Well,
need a
that
little
little
help.
box ain't gonna hold both of us. Okay, let's go over here then. We don't need that. We don't need that thing.
Okay.
All right, so maybe we say it louder. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, everybody. So glad you're here. All the people in the front, the people in the rear. When you came through the door, you was expecting to see Chapman and Johnson doing the thing. Y'all ain't clapping, that.
I had dreams of being a video dancer one
exactly.
day, but
Exactly.
thank you for this.
Exactly.
What
So
an
I'm Yolanda
honor.
Johnson Peterkin, in case you didn't know. The Reverend. And she is...
Shonda Chapman.
Yes! And we're here tonight celebrating the 16th year. 16 years of Beyond the Bars. Yes, with the Center of Justice. Yes, the Center for Justice, 16 years of Beyond the Bars. And what is this year's theme? Y'all tired. Y'all didn't get no tater
I
chips?
thought we were over this.
Yeah.
This year's theme is
Rooted in. Yes. And we want you to make sure that you have an opportunity to get your Twitter, get all of that stuff ready. Please be using the hashtag, doing all of the stuff that you do on the Twitter and the Facebook and all of that stuff, and getting the hashtags out, because this is going to be an evening to remember. Isn't that right? Now, before we go any further, we want to make sure that you know what happened already. Isn't that right?
That's right.
Some things happened already, right? So last night, can the graduates stand up? The Collective Leadership Institute graduates graduated last night, and they had a fine time as they were moving on and getting all of their accolades last night. The house was full and packed, and emotions were flowing as those women are going to lead through 38 states. It was 38 or 31, one of those. My mind goes from night to night. But the bottom line is that they were graduating. Isn't that right? Now, what happened is, we wanted to make sure we shouted out some people that said thank you. Because we used to saying thank you. Not me, I just say do it.
First of all, you know what? Let me say thank you to Yolanda standing here, right? This is literally my 10th year of Beyond the Bars. I started in 2015, 2016, cohort of Beyond the Bars alumni. Is 2015, 2016 in the building? No, it's me. But give it up for 2015, 2016.
Yes.
Right? And for all of those years, Yolanda, I've watched you come, open up, grace the stage, bring the energy of the crowd up. And I want to just let you know what an honor it is to stand here next to you, right? To have the invitation. Call me Yolanda Jr. tonight, right? That's who I am this evening. So Yolanda, I want to just thank you for that. I also want to give you an opportunity to talk about, we know that you're Yolanda Johnson, but you didn't tell us who you are. You're at the helm of an institution that's really critical for our community. So I want to make sure we give you the space to talk about that.
Thank you so much for pushing me into my comfort zone. I am the new executive of College and Community Fellowship for the women. Yes, for the women.
That's right.
Making sure I take the helm, and I want you and you to be supportive, because that is educational endeavors for women and gender expansive individuals. But I stand in gracious opportunity and humble by the opportunity for what you're doing over there. And where are you again?
I'm at the illustrious Women Building Up.
Yes!
Right? What an honor it is to, one, come from community, but to be working with a wonderful team of people, including Susan Shaw, who's in the building,
Yes.
to resource movements that are by and for formerly incarcerated and currently incarcerated people who have been impacted by carceral systems, women and gender expansive folks.
Yes, 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 yes. Give it up, give it up, give it up, give it up.
Yeah. And before we go any further, let us take a moment to thank all the people that did all the work to make sure that you could come here, that you could be comfortable, right?
Yes.
And that you could have a wonderful experience.
Yes.
Right?
So let's thank the Center for Justice. Last night people ran out and we were in a rush, but we need to make sure, can everybody that worked on this, that volunteered, that is a part of the Center for Justice, that is a staff for the Center for Justice, just take 1 second to stand up and let's give them a round of applause. Yes, we love you, we appreciate you, and we thank you.
That's right. The Center for Justice, the Beyond the Bars Conference, is so much more than a conference. For many of us, it's a political home.
Yes.
It's a space where we can, I just said for someone just a moment ago that it's my favorite family reunion of the year, right?
Yes.
I get to see people from all across the country doing the most important and some of the most radical work in our country today. So thank all of you for being here, for taking your time, and for making this a wonderful evening.
And now we are around the world. So don't forget, we are now around the world. And this is a movement. And shout out to those that are listening online and all of those out on Facebook and listening online. So we will move on. At this point, we'd like to welcome Reverend Winnie and Cheryl to the stage. Welcome everyone as they come. Welcome them. Give them a round of applause, a hearty round of applause.
And after Cheryl and Reverend Winnie, there'll be a land acknowledgement by our very own Wakumi Douglas.
Yes, yes, yes. Wakumi will come after. Yes. Oh, excuse me.
Good evening. First and foremost, can we all say, welcome home, Reverend Winnie. We missed you in New York.
Well, welcome to you to the Cathedral of St. John the Divine. Who has been here before? That's right. Who is here for the first time? Oh, man. Okay, let me do that again. Clap your hands if you are here for the first time. I am so honored to welcome you to your cathedral. Know that whoever you are, whatever your life has been, whatever kind of day you've had, however you're feeling, you are welcome here exactly as you are. My name is Winnie, and I'm the Dean of the Cathedral, and one of the brilliant, delightful, powerful things that happened to me when I came back in July to be the Dean of this cathedral is Cheryl called, sent me a note, and said she wanted to meet to welcome me home, which she has done for so many of you and of us over the years, and I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. And you all being here makes it more home for me and for many of us. So thank you for honoring us with your presence today, and know that you are always welcome here.
And welcome home, Cash. Yeah, super excited to be in this space and super excited to have Reverend Winnie back home with us. She's been a supporter for us throughout the years in many different areas and many different institutions. And we are happy to have you and appreciate you welcoming Beyond the Bars 16 years. 16 years, Gina. You've been here with me. So let's enjoy the show. We're not going to take up too much time. Let's go.
Come on, Wakumi. Give Wakumi a round of applause.
Yeah, good to be here. All right. So I have the privilege tonight of getting to offer the land acknowledgement. And in addition to the land acknowledgement, we're going to do a little ancestral honoring as well. Is that okay with folks? Yeah, because that's what we do, right? That's what we do. My name is Wakumi. I'm one of the co-founders of the Beyond the Bars conference. And I'm also coming to you tonight as Iyanifa Awosogbon, bringing greetings from Yoruba land, by way of Jamaica, by way of New Jersey, by way of Columbia School of Social Work, and all the places. So it's just really good to be here. We want to recognize, first and foremost, with our land acknowledgement, that the 5 boroughs of New York City are the ancestral homeland of the Lenape people, displaced violently by European settler colonization. Without the stewarding of the land of the Lenape people, we all wouldn't be here. So we want to take a moment to breathe that in and to honor the Lenape. Thank y'all for that. And then we also want to honor the people on whose shoulders we stand, yes? For many of us, we're very clear that we wouldn't be here if it weren't for our grandmas and our grandpas and our aunties and all of the ancestors whose names we know and don't know. And so we want to take a moment to pause, to be strengthened by those who came before us through their memory and through presence, and for some of us through prayer. So I'm going to invite us into a libations ceremony. If folks in the room are familiar with libations, just raise your hand. Okay, all right. So follow the folks whose hands are raised if this is new to you. And what I always say is this is an invitation. So some invitations we say yes to, right? And some invitations we say no. And so if for you, participating in libations doesn't feel like it serves you well tonight, my request is that you be a loving witness. Can we agree to that? All right. So what I'm going to ask you to do in a moment, is call out the names of your ancestors who you would like to be present with us through this weekend and beyond. You're going to call their names out loud in a moment. And as we're calling the names, when you're hearing names, if you're not calling a name and you hear a name, you say the word Ashe. Ashe means, and so it is in Yoruba, a word that comes from what we now call Nigeria. All right? And while that happens, I'm going to sprinkle some water on the ground, and we're going to do that until we feel complete. And then we're going to say 3 Ashes together. All right, y'all? Yeah? Okay. All right. Before we do that, I'm just going to say some words of intention. Intention matters. So we're calling the names of our ancestors so they can continue to strengthen us in these times, for long life, ire laiku, for healthy relationships, for abundance, age, for victory over all of our enemies, ire ishegun, and that we win liberation for all of our people in cages and beyond. And with that, I'm going to ask you to call the names of your ancestors. Ashe. You can say it louder than that. Ashe. 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 We call the names of these ancestors and all our ancestors of light whose names we may not know. And with 3 Ashes, we all say, Ashe, Ashe, Ashe-o. Thank you all so much. Thank you.
I just wanted to get up here. See if I can see y'all different if I stand up here. Take a deep breath in. let it out. This is one of the biggest churches I've ever been in my life. This is like one of those experiences when the Center for Justice took me to Africa, and I had nothing to say. And many of you know that it's very difficult for me to have nothing to say. I remember when this person was my supervisor, and I was learning the stages of Marxism and Freud and stages of change. And I had to have supervision with this person, and many of you don't know that I worked for Fortune. And he would say, well, what stage is that person in? Pre-contemplation? And I used to just be looking at him saying, I really don't care what stage they're in, we just gotta move them out. But I realized that he was meticulous and wanted me to learn something, and not just learn it by talking about it, but about being about it. So I guess that's why he is currently the commissioner, the first ever commissioner, formerly incarcerated, but not just formerly incarcerated, because we like to lead with that, but a person who went through all of it, all of the work, all of the blood, all of the sweat, who sat at Rikers with us, who made us go through stages to understand the work that we were doing, and I'm talking about 36 years ago. The person who poured into me, and there's so many others have poured into me since then, but continue to pour into me when I went to WPA, when I went to other places to work, when I was in the mayor's office, and still I could pick up the phone or text, and he would say, stay right there, do this and do that. I guess that's why I'm getting ready to call the person who is now leading men, women, officers, counselors, and all to freedom, the commissioner of Rikers Island, presently, Stanley Richards, to the stage.
Wow. As I look around, and we did the opening, this is what hope looks like. This is what second chances and forgiveness and love looks like. So as we go through the evening, look around. As we search for answers, look to the person next to you. As we seek strength, look to the person next to you. Because as Bruce Jones and Carl Dukes would always say, the answer is in the room. And so give yourselves a round of applause for being here and being an example of hope. As Yolanda said, my name is Stanley Richards, and I'm the Commissioner of the New York City Department of Correction. I'm not sure those words have ever been spoken before at this particular conference. I'm not sure. I can be pretty confident it hasn't. It is an honor to be here and speak to you and be in community, which I have been rooted in for so long. This theme, this room, this incredible gathering, you inspire me to reflect on the networks that helped transform my life, took care of me, and shaped my work. Community holds a particular point and power in my life. At a point in my life when I didn't have hope, I had community. When I didn't have direction, I had community. For many of us, we were sent away alone. Finding our way back took help, real help, from others and our family. At some point in my life, someone decided to change the way they wanted to see the world, and they began to invest in me because what they saw is not the crime I committed, how much time I served, the valleys I was in, what they saw was what was possible. What they saw, yes, yes. What they saw is a way for us to build the world we wished we lived in, one person at a time, sharing love, being in community, supporting each other. To me, that is what community is all about. Building partnerships that make change possible, creating entirely new realities, going beyond the bars. Yes, going beyond the bars. But that work takes a great deal of focus, commitment. And we've seen on this stage today the focus and commitment. 15 years. Sophia and I was just talking. Remember the first one. Now look at it. In a cathedral filled with community members who all agree that we can do better, will do better, and must do better, and go beyond the bars. Being in community takes empathy, care, and love. It requires to put people first over politics, people first over systems, people first over defining and deciding who's a winner and who's a loser. It takes putting people first to say that you matter. I am so proud to be in this administration, in this moment, leading this department. Mayor Mamdani has been so clear-eyed from the moment we had a conversation. Rikers must close. We must create the opportunity right now to see a better path forward. The days of demonizing and blaming and looking for fault are over. The days of looking for solutions, getting to yes, and taking action is here. It's now. It starts with all of you. It sounds simple, it sounds catchy, but there is nothing more radical or more challenging than what we are about to embark on. Today, we have 6,600 people in our care. We have 5,600 officers active in our department. We have decaying facilities. We have hopelessness and trauma and isolation is the call of the day. Under my leadership, under this mayor's leadership, the day of change is right in front of us. It is right in front of us. When we work together, we will have officers who feel cared for, heard, understood, and supported. When we do our work together, we will have the people in our care know that they are cared for, they are valued, they are appreciated, and that they could turn their life around. And that's the work ahead of us. And I ask you to join me in that work. Today, I have the privilege of a vantage point I once could not have imagined. In 1986, my number was 241-86-16601. 2.5 years on Rikers, getting my case adjudicated. My next number was 88A-4306. Numbers I will never, ever forget. And when I was in that valley, and I was in that moment, I could never have imagined being here today in this role, doing this work. But God, took my brokenness, took my valley, took my confusion, my anger, my willingness to live that life, because I thought that's the life that I was destined to live, and turned it into hope and purpose and partnership. So today, I ask you to stand with me, to stand with all of us, to make sure that the important work that we have ahead of us, closing Rikers, reducing population, and building borough-based jails that are centered on the humanity of those who work there and those who are in our care. It's going to take all of us. It's going to take our voice, our consistency, and partnership. So I want to thank you for inviting me to come share tonight. And I hope my words are words of encouragement and hope. Because in this moment, hope is the seed that will blossom generations and generations of people who will come to know not Rikers, but stability, hope, investment, and community. And so I end with these words. I stand before you as a formerly incarcerated man of color who is now leading the Department of Correction with, yes, but my journey was not made without you. Let me say that again. My journey could not have been possible without you. Every Beyond the Bars conference, every rally, every campaign that you participated in, you made this a reality. You demanded our elected officials and leaders in this city and in this state take notice of the power of this collective group. And so I take your power, I take your voice as the wind beneath my wings to every day stay focused on the hope of what is possible, not on the failures of the past. Every day, I'll take the wind beneath my wings to make sure that everybody I talk life into, not take life out of. Every day, when I walk into a facility or I go to my office, which is on Rikers, I take all of you, knowing that the work of today isn't necessarily about us, but it's about the next generation and the next generation. And my work, our work, my hope is that the one day my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren will not know the path that I went, my brother went, and my sister went. That they will come to know that in this city, their path to adulthood and stability doesn't have to go through Rikers and jail and prison. That when my son came to see me in prison, my grandkids will never have to go and see their father in prison and say what my son said to me, when he came on Family Day and we were in the gym. And he said, "Dad, do I got to go to prison to come to a gym like this?" That is the hope that this work fuels me, that none of our kids will have to say that. So I want to thank you for inviting the Department of Correction, inviting me to come and be in fellowship and partnership with you to share a few words about the work that I'm doing, about the work of the future, and to acknowledge and lift up. This moment would not be possible without all of you. Thank you.
That's right. Give it up for Commissioner Richards. Commissioner, I can't imagine what it means to stand in your shoes in this very moment, but I can't imagine a better person to do the job. And I'm more honored that you are part of the Beyond the Bars community. I've watched you be here every year, and I just want to say I am sending all my love and energy for the work that you have to do. Now, you have a treat, a tribute to our beloved Ashada Shakur from Kiera King and the Cathedral Night Watch Youth.
Hi, everybody. Hey, everybody. We're going to do a little call and response. Is that cool? I have Audrey and Aiden here with me, and they're going to help us out so you can hear everything. All right, you ready? It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to win.
It is our duty to win.
We must love and protect one another.
We must love and protect one another.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
Now 10 times louder. It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to win.
It is our duty to win.
We must love and support one another.
We must love and support one another.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
We're gonna do it one more time. This time, just send it. It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to win.
It is our duty to win.
We must love and support one another.
We must love and support one another.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
Thank you.
My name is Assata Shakur, and I was born and raised in the United States. I am a descendant of Africans who were kidnapped and brought to the Americas as slaves.
She continues to maintain and promote her terrorist ideology. She provides anti-U.S. government speeches espousing the Black Liberation Army message of revolution and terrorism.
The FBI, with the help of local police agencies, systematically fed false accusations and fake news articles to the press, accusing me and other activists of crimes we did not commit. At this point, I think that it is important to make one thing very clear. I have advocated, and I still advocate, revolutionary changes in the structure and in the principles that govern the United States. I advocate self-determination for my people and for all oppressed people inside the United States. I advocate an end to capitalist exploitation, the abolition of racist policies, the eradication of sexism, and the elimination of political repression. If that is a crime, then I am totally guilty. To make a long story story short, I was captured in New Jersey in 1973 after being shot with both arms held in the air and then shot again from the back. I was left on the ground to die, and when I did not, I was taken to a local hospital where I was threatened, beaten, and tortured. The New Jersey State Police and other law enforcement officials say they want to see me brought to justice. But I would like to know what they mean by justice. Is torture justice? I was kept in solitary confinement for more than 2 years, mostly in men's prisons. Is that justice? My lawyers were threatened with imprisonment and imprisoned. Is that justice? I was tried by an all-white jury without even the pretext of impartiality and then sentenced to life in prison plus 33 years. Is that justice? Let me emphasize that justice for me is not the issue I am addressing here. It is justice for my people that is at stake. When my people receive justice, I am sure that I will receive it too.
When I give you all my loving, you say I wear you out.
Hold on. Come on. Let me just do the encore. Now, y'all know that's Kiki, that's my baby. Y'all got to give another round of applause. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Yes, and she will perform for you and your country and in your state, just so you know, okay? So these are the young people. Y'all got to give it up for them. Y'all act like y'all paid to get in. What is happening?
Now hold on one moment. Erica, is that your baby?
That is Erica. Erica, stand up.
Oh my goodness, Erica King.
Erica, stand it up. Yes, that's Maine in the house. Give Maine a round of applause. Yes, yes. So next we will have, can we have Lana for our plenary? Yes, introduce.
That's right. I want y'all to know that I get the honor of introducing this next panel, but it's some of my favorite people. Like truly my favorite people, some of my favorite humans in the world, but also some of the best, most strategic people that I learn from every day. One friend is a new friend. We met on the way out, on the way in actually. But I think she's amazing too, right? I can tell we have the same lipstick, right? Making good choices, you know what I mean? So our open plenary is called Liberation in the Midst of Expanding Criminalization and Rising Authoritarianism. Authoritarianism. There we go. I sounded it out. Thank you. I mean, we know we're living the thing, right? You know, whether or not I can say it entirely, we are certainly living in the midst of rising authoritarianism. So let me just tell you, my favorite folks, Aaron Miles Cloud, right? Right?
No. We just want to show you off.
I'm just saying.
We're excited. We're just excited. Right, but we want to
Gina?
make sure that everybody knows who's coming.
Gina, do you know the way that I fangirl you? We didn't really talk about that. Right, I do. I fangirl you. I fangirl your strategic brilliance, but also your outfit. Y'all see what Gina has on? Like she put the chartreuse
in the house.
You know what I mean? I love a good outfit, and I was like, oh, okay, I see what's happening here. Suma. Let me see am I saying your last name? Is it Arias?
Arias.
Soma Arias. This is my new friend with the perfect lipstick, right? And I'm sure so much more than that. And Talitha LaFloria. Yes. Talitha, I don't know you, but I'm excited to hear from you. I've heard very many things about you, so we are just thrilled that you are here. Stacey, Chess Ray, y'all doing a lot of different jobs
So
today.
we just want you to know this is all run by women, set up by women.
Y'all give it up for Stacey and Chess Ray.
That's
they
right.
just walked
Give them
up
a round
here
of
like
applause.
they weren't doing a whole lot of work. Give it up. Thank you. Chess Ray got the hair going. You see Stacey's dress? You know, All right. So I'm going to officially. Oh, Michael, no. Michael, it's not okay. Michael, it's not okay. It's not. I'm sorry. Can I just, you know what I'm saying? Thank you, right? But we talked about, to be fair, I told you looked amazing when you didn't, right? That's true. I did say that. Stand up, Michael. Michael looks amazing. All right, I'm officially going to invite our panel up. Again, it's liberation in the midst of expanding criminalization and rising authoritarianism.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Gina Dent, and I'm thrilled to be here at what would have been my 16th Beyond the Bars, except that I was very ill one time. But it's amazing to be here again. It's amazing to see all of you. It's amazing to be in this beautiful, beautiful building. And I'm so excited to be with the folks on this panel. The warm feelings I'm having right now are lifting me up, but I do want to say this panel is also about what's going on for all of us right now. It's about this moment where we're at yet another war. It's a moment where we've had to think about, in the abolitionist community, a relationship to detention, immigrant detention, and other areas that are often left out of our movements. We're having to unify and move across various borders of incarceration, and I'm very happy to lift up that work on this panel today. So I am here with Talita LaFloria, Soma Arias, Aaron Miles Cloud, I almost called you, and Eric Robeson, and I want each of them to introduce themselves to you and talk a little bit about how the work they're doing now is going in light of what's happening. I should just say, because now I don't know everyone in this room probably, that I am from UC Santa Cruz. I work with a project called Visualizing Abolition, and I wanted to shout out my team members who are here from California, as long as a number of underground scholars who traveled here from Santa Cruz to be here, which is really exciting for all of us. But I want to turn it over to you just to get us started, Talitha.
Well, thank you. I'm so excited to be here. This is my first Beyond the Bars conference. I have a lot of friends and allies within this community. I am a historian by trade, and I'm also an activist and a freedom fighter. I have been studying the history of Black women in mass incarceration for over 20 years, and I recently authored a book that'll be out this summer called Searching for Jane Crow: Black Women and Mass Incarceration in America from the Auction Block to the Cell Block. And so part of the reason I'm here tonight is to help us to think about how, the system of mass incarceration is rooted in slavery, which is what I write about, centering Black women's experiences, but to also think about how the prevalence of race-based criminalization that we're seeing today is also rooted in slavery. And so my hope is that I'll have an opportunity to shed light on what I see as some of the roots of our present-day crisis as it pertains to crimmigration and increasing criminalization of our immigrant brothers and sisters. And so I look forward to this conversation.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you, with all the amazing people on the stage, and with all of you. It is also my first time at one of these conferences. My name is Zulma Arias. I am the executive director at People's Action. People's Action is a network of 41 affiliates, grassroots affiliates in 30 states. I come to this network. This has been my organizing home, but prior to this, I am also an immigrant from El Salvador who came to this country at the age of 13. I settled in a place called Kansas, and by no choice of my own when I was that age, but I do continue to go back to Kansas as my home because that is where I live and that is where my family and my grandchildren, my husband and my grown children are. And I come to organizing from two traditions. One is when I grew up and when I came into Kansas, I became a part of the very traditional evangelical church. So I grew up in a Pentecostal evangelical church. And in 1999, as I was coming out of theological seminary, the first Spanish-speaking theological seminary that I went to with my ex-husband, where I discovered liberation theology. Coming out of that, I discovered my roots. I discovered things that I had put away because of the trauma that I grew up in when I was a child in El Salvador. But I found two things almost at the same time. I found liberation theology, helped me understand what was happening in the country that I come from. And I also found organizing in '99 when I was homeschooling my three daughters. And the two things became what I've been doing for the last almost 30 years, organizing to build community, to bring people into the most powerful thing that I believe organizing is transformational. When I met Shel Trapp, the co-founder of People's Action, it was in my home when I was homeschooling my children in March of 2000. 22 years later, I'm doing this work and I never thought I'd be here. 22 years later, I'm leading the organization that he and other people started. And that is what I believe the power of organizing is. If we're doing good organizing, it transforms people. You tap into people's power and we can change the world. And in 2023, as part of the 4 years that I've been here at People's Action, we published a report called Organizing the Antidote to Authoritarianism. And I'm going to talk to you about that tonight because we believe that good organizing is still the antidote to authoritarianism.
Can we clap for that? Yeah, it should be on. All right, they said this is on. If it's not on, you'll just miss it. Oh, I'm good. I think I got it. My name is Erin Miles Cloud. I use she, her pronouns, and I am a mother of two beautiful children. I am a sister. I am the co-founder of an organization called Movement for Family Power, which works to end the family policing system, one that I grew up calling the child welfare and the foster care system. I have recently co-authored a book called From How to End Family Policing from Outrage to Action that really centers organizers and activists that have been resisting the system for decades. And I am also the new director of the Justice Project at Advancement Project. And I am born and raised in Baltimore City. And I am cared for by the Bronx. And those are my two places of neighborhoods because I believe my neighborhood, my organizing, is one of the most important features of the work. And I think what I think about a lot is, you talked about the crisis of right now, right? We have this ongoing crisis of the work that we're doing. We have the crisis of pulling people's children and that authoritarian mechanism that's happening every single day that's taking our children, breaking us apart and putting us in places where we don't have generational contact with each other and pushing and pulling and separating our families. And we can call that system ICE, we can call that system the family policing system, we can call that system incarceration. But the strategy of family separation, the strategy and the crisis of community infiltration by this authoritarian system is an important aspect of the work that we do, and the antidote, I agree, is organizing. And I'm gonna kick it over to my homie over here.
Yeah. So good evening. This is one. So good evening. So my name is Michael Robertson. I am originally from Camden, New Jersey. Come on, Camden, which is, right, when you said, I heard that, right? So Camden is a hood across the bridge from Philadelphia. My trajectory about Camden is that it's hood. I can say that because I was born there, reared there, graduated from college there. And I was working for the Board of Education for Camden, New Jersey as a crisis counselor. And at the same time, I was on psychiatric emergency service part-time. And then I began facilitating a youth discussion group for LGBTQ young folk of color at a Black Gay Indigenous organization in Philadelphia called Colors, true story. And in May 1999, one of the beautiful things about working for the Board of Education in the Northeast is that when there's snow real bad, you don't have to go to work. And you know, when the weatherman will forecast snow and I wake up in the morning and there was no snow, I start getting mad at God. True story. I was home listening to Maxwell. I heard a voice in this ear tell me to move to New York City and do the work I wanted to do. 2 months later in July, I put in my resignation with the Board of Education. 2 months later, I moved to New York City with $177 worth of change, and I've been here 27 years later, right? Real quick, I do public health. One of the things I do is public health and research for the past 30-some-odd years, particularly addressing issues around HIV as it relates to Black, Latinx, LGBTQ folk. Blessed enough to do a whole bunch of things. And then in 2008, I got fired in a very public way. You know, there's a great Greek philosopher, Montaigne, that says philosophy is about learning how to die. And the philosophy is about learning how to die. The theology is about rebirth. And I went to Union Theological Seminary, right? And be real clear, not to be a minister, don't confuse my performativity. But I went to Union because I wanted to put theology in conversation with public health, because it was my assertion that the theology of abomination had direct impact on health disparities impacting Black and Latinx LGBTQ folk. And so I'm going to talk about some of that stuff. I'm going to talk about how do we look differently around surveillance and carceral systems, particularly as we, and how we begin to interrogate the notion of Black homophobia and transphobia being nothing but the remix of white supremacy.
Okay. You know, we have a big evening, and you can see we could be here for a very long time. I want to throw it, I think, first to Letha, maybe, because I think it would be nice to ground this historically. We're using words like authoritarianism. We're using words like fascism. I think it would be important for us to try and think through those words, and one of the questions we've been given is to really think about how expanding punishment, surveillance, and social control are showing up in your work right now, and that, I think, is important for organizers, but I'd also love for you to ground us in how we should understand those issues.
Well, I guess for me, when we go past, authoritarianism and fascism, to think about the roots of white supremacy and how, for me, as a scholar of slavery and as a scholar who looks at the historical origins of mass incarceration, tracing it to the period of enslavement, for me, I believe that, many of the problems that we're facing today has more to do with white supremacy than these other systems, right? And so when I think about, how my current work is situated, in the present, I think about how the family policing system, for example, the system of family separation that so many people are affected by today is rooted in slavery. When we talk about the separation of family on auction blocks and how chattel slavery, split apart hundreds of thousands of Black families, we have to think about how its legacies live on today in the lives of all of the people who now populate our country, and how the consequences of slavery are affecting us all, regardless of our race, our gender, ethnicity. It's an epidemic, right? So the family separation epidemic that is pervasive today, and the separation of, children by ICE from their families, to be swept into the system. Some of us call it child removal system, some of us call it family policing. That's just one example of, the myriad forms of social control and continuing incarceration and surveillance that I see historically that's being amplified in the present with the crisis that we see in immigration.
Thank you. Which makes me want to turn to Erin. I know you had started out trying to talk to people a bit already about family policing system, but I wonder if you would talk a little bit about how your work is going now and what you're thinking.
Yeah, I think of my work as like, what is my job and what is my work? And so there's parts of my life that intersect in different ways. And so when I think about my work at the Justice Project, I think about quite a lot of all these systems. And I firmly believe that we are in and have been in crisis since chattel slavery in an economy that profits off of family separation, whether or not you're being separated and erased through the system that we call jails and prisons, whether you're being separated and erased in our eviction systems, there's this, we can name it what we name it, and it's all a big tent, right? And so
one aspect of what we're seeing is just the current form of fascism and authoritarianism in the fight and resistance to close down detention centers, prisons, and to change and build alternatives is really filled with the willing of radical idealism of fascism. And what I mean by that is that what we're seeing is in the legal system, one, we're seeing conservative right fascist people really write their fantasies out through law. We're seeing them write in places like the 11th Circuit in Alabama. They are saying we currently right now is a case where they're saying we actually don't believe that every individual gets a right to family. And you know how they have created that conversation. They said, well, we've already disenfranchised incarcerated people and stripped rights from them. Therefore, there is a historical root. And they're not actually wrong. When we talk about the history of how we have really eviscerated and created levels of access, they're not wrong that that is in fact precedent, even if their entire arguments are things that we call dissent, things you're not supposed to rely on. So I say in the right, in my legal brain as a lawyer, I see the radical willingness of the conservative fascist right to just say what they want in fantasy and make that into law. Then there's this work that I'm doing that is my life's work of raising children, of being a neighbor, of organizing, right? And those things intersect, and those sometimes don't intersect. And I'm seeing in this current moment of increasing surveillance of the ability to care. And care is the antidote, right? Care and organizing, those infrastructures are the antidote to fascism. We saw in Minneapolis that people delivering mutual aid were getting in fear of and being arrested for harboring undocumented people. There's safety planning around delivering groceries to people, getting people to school, right? So the surveillance mechanism and the criminalization mechanism of care. Why do we criminalize care? Why is that important to fascism? Because care is an antidote. Connection is an antidote. Coming together is actually what is important to resist. That's why organizing is important. Organizing is important because it's strategic, collective care towards a political goal, right? So the more they can break that down from us, the stronger that they get. We also just see complete, unabashed willingness. Again, this is not new. It has built up over time to enter into our spaces of care and home, into our homes to take our kids, into our schools to take our children. And that is important. And I think what's really important is that they are taking us and separating us from each other, but then they get to say that they are a savior. This is not a new trick. And one thing I would like to point, when we looked at Minneapolis and we saw little Liam and we see his bunny ears, right? And we see Vance come in and say, well, my wife, I have a 5-year-old. How could I also was concerned about taking a kid's parents, but then I thought about it. What else were we supposed to do? This is his words. He talks about it. He says, what else were we supposed to do when his father abandons him? I could take that same talking point and talk about, well, what else were we supposed to do but terminate parental rights for every incarcerated family when the parent did X, Y, Z to get themselves locked up? What else were we supposed to do but lock someone up? Doesn't matter if they're pregnant, doesn't matter if they have kids, doesn't matter if you have another person in your life to be connected to, right? They did something bad, and therefore I am doing the right thing by saving this child, this person, this people, right? When they created the conditions, they created the conditions. So what I also see is their continued willingness of radical concepts of saviorism. I call them radical because I do think that authoritarianism and fascism are a dream for people, right? They are an objective strategy and a point that they're trying to get to. And what we have to be conscious of is that every single one of those talking points are actually a singular strategy. It is no different when I fight against prisons and when I fight for housing. It's no different when I fight against the family policing system, when I fight against detentions, and I'm also fighting for mutual aid. If we allow ourselves to fall into their narrative, right? Like, oh, they're saving little Liam, or they're saving the child from ACS, or they're saving the family from the carceral system, we feed into their narrative. And while that is not new, they are getting more specific, more rapid, and they are getting more concentrated in their ability to effectuate that strategy, which is consolidating their particular power.
Thank you. I'm going to put a little note because I want to quibble with you a little only about what you said about radical.
Oh, yes.
Because we know that that word comes from root.
Yes.
Right? And what is the theme of our conference? Rooted in. What does that mean? Radicalizing, right? So I'm worried that in this moment, especially of authoritarianism, in fact, the term radical is being applied to us, but not in the ways that we're imagining, Care, as you're laying out. So I didn't disagree with anything else you said, but I wanted to lift that up for this room because I think that's really important to us. And I want to ask, I think as a transition to another question, Selma, I'm going to turn to you. How do we respond to these broad threats to rights and democracy while still centering the people and communities who are most impacted?
Thank you. Well, I believe there are almost, 700, 800 organizers and leaders in the room. And I know that this is the beginning of your conference, and I don't want you to, hopefully over the next 2 days, you will have a chance to really dig in, because I want to go back to what I said. The antidote to authoritarianism is good organizing. And this week I just came here from Nevada, and I was with a few, some elders that are part of another network that's called Faith in Action, used to be a PICO network. And one of the elders, very wise men, said to me, remember that organizing is neutral, and it can be used for good or for evil. And our frame and the work that we've been doing, in order for us, honestly, as organizers, to think about how we're going to change the course of what we've been doing, we have to have an honest conversation with each other about our organizing and the way that maybe has not been rooted in community and where it should be rooted. And I think we need to start there, because at least a lot of the networks and the people that for the last 5 decades decided, okay, we are going to build on the winds of our only job as organizers was to either build on those winds of the civil rights movement or protect them. And if we're honest with each other, we haven't done a really good job. So then it makes us have to question ourselves, what do we need to do in this moment that both helps us learn from history, but also get real with our communities, with ourselves, with our institutions, about what we are as organizers need to wrestle with in this moment. And a lot of the work that I've been doing for the past 4 years starts with having the conversations within the main national formations that are the ones that have been doing organizing, whether it was nationally, whether it was the Alinsky models, whatever model it is. But there's a frame to what good organizing should be. And to me, at the end of the day, no matter how you say it, no matter what form you follow, no matter what methodology you follow, at the end of the day, organizing is about people. Organizing is about connection. And organizing must be, good organizing must be rooted in love. And guess what? It must be rooted in struggle. Because there's no easy way, especially in this moment. If you are an organizer in this moment, in my case, as a woman of color, and most of the leaders that are now leading national formations are people of color, it means that every time I leave my house or travel anywhere right now, I have a document that I have written that my team knows, my family knows. If anything happens to me, they know what to do. And being an organizer in this moment requires for you to have a level of commitment and a level of calling to this work that it is about people. And every organizer in this moment should be doing one thing: be hungry about saving souls, bringing souls into the movement, connecting to people. And a lot of organizers I get a lot of, so what is the theory of change? What every organizer wants, the perfect magic, the perfect strategy. And I asked him, how many people new people did you talk to yesterday? How many new people did you talk to this week? Because I'm tired of all the blah, blah about everything, and people have no following and no leaders. And they're not bringing in new people into our movements, and they're not connecting to new people. 7 out of 10 people in this country do not know who their neighbor is. And that is what the crisis of isolation has given us. And authoritarianism thrives in isolation and division. And the hardest thing we're gonna have to do when is come out of that as organizers. You can't do it online. You know, online has a purpose. But the hardest thing is we're gonna have to push ourselves to be lovers of people, to be out there, and our job is to bring people. If you're an organizer, that is your job, to bring people.
It's only 5 minutes? This can't be right. We need to stay here. Tina, can we stay here?
I'm just doing a timekeeping.
I know, it's 5 minutes. I believe it.
Because we've only done 25, so I'm just wondering if that's right. Okay, sorry. Yes, because I got a few things to get to, but I promise not to overstep. All right. Try to be respectful. We love people, right? We got to work with each other. Okay. Thank you so much for saying that, and also thank you so much for recoding savior, because Aaron, we were thinking conquest and family policing, but there's another kind of salvation, saving that you lifted up. So thank you for that. I wonder if that might be, just in the interest of making sure we're not over time, a transition to something that I would love to hear you start talking about, Michael, which is, how can we better recognize and learn from leadership that's overlooked? And this is really a transition from the other question, including the leadership of Black women and other directly impacted people. And I know you talk about that. Yeah.
I'm going to do real quick this thing that goes, I think about the feminist adage, the personal is political, so I'm going to do that, right? I oftentimes say that the greatest gift that God ever bestowed upon me was to be born through the womb of a Black woman that I call my mother. It was the greatest gift ever. And I say that particularly as an openly Black gay man, that it was so necessary for me to be born through the womb of a Black woman. And I'm going to place that in dialogue with something that Zora Neale Hurston once said, that Black women are the mules of the earth. She said, trampled on over and over and over again. I oftentimes say that Black women are situated as Christ, nailed to the cross, always having to give, hold up whole community, even to her oppressor's children, and who was there for her. But then I then go further and say, but Zora Neale Hurston was most likely talking about cisgender Black women. And if cisgender Black women are the mules of the earth, then Black trans women have been lodged somewhere between Frantz Fanon's notion of the wretched of the earth and Howard Thurman's notion of the disinherited. And these Black trans women, and I'm saying this because I'm going to talk about the community in which I'm going to talk about. These Black trans women have created a way out of no way, and I call it the ballroom community. And tomorrow I'm doing a lecture on the ballroom community, looking at it as a freedom movement, grounded in a particular kind of theology, but understanding that this community has a lot to say, to teach the world over, to your wonderful point about what it means to be human in the face of catastrophe, because it's on intimate terms with death. It is a community that in many ways was grounded or rooted in out of the Harlem Renaissance in New York City, in contestation to the Black church. I'll name the church, it's not stepping on anybody's shoes, but Abyssinian Baptist Church, because Abyssinian created a 3-decade campaign to get rid of Black queers. In Harlem, there were 3 ways that Black queers congregated: at beauty salons, at rent parties, and and at drag balls, right? And so I then say, and the question became, theology talks about the theodicy, but the question became, Black folk, we left the South to the North looking for new spaces of freedom, and Black queers said, how can we unfree in this new space of freedom? But after World War II, where other cities become blacker, DC, Detroit, Baltimore, Philadelphia, these drag balls migrate to other cities looking for new spaces of freedom. And they morph and they morph and they morph. And in the 70s, they begin to be in dialogue with art movements, hip hop, merengue, salsa, New York Pope movement, looking at art as a political resistance, right? And so I say all of that. If I had a longer time, if you want to come listen to it tomorrow, you can. I had a long time, I would talk about it, but one of the beautiful things about this community, that somehow, 100 years later, in every geographical region in the United States, there are black folk, there is this house ball community, right? But it also exists in Mexico City, it's in Uganda, it's in Madagascar, it's in Vietnam, it's in Japan, right? It is in South Africa, it's in Sao Paulo, Brazil, it's in Paris, France, it's even in Putin's Russia. So how does that happen through the lens, through the ethos of black trans women from Harlem, that across the world, that it is creating democracy for people who are not afforded to it, right? We have 64 countries in the world who criminalize same-sex activity. And about 32 of them, the criminalization or the penalty is death. And so here, I think, again, in dialogue with black feminism, I'm a student of womanist theology, so it's in dialogue with all of those things. I can go on and on and on. I saw that, I don't have enough time, but if you come to my workshop tomorrow, we'll talk more about it.
Yes, yes. We're gonna try to help us all get back on time. So we're going to do our best. I'm just going to let each panelist, we had one more thing, which was really about how what you just mentioned, Michael, was also about how the analysis for incarceration and carcerality needs to actually be informed by gender inclusively and race. I think that's been represented already in the panel. We're not going to do that. I just want to give everyone, because it is a moment when it's a little harder to talk about what we're hopeful about and what we're doing, so I want to allow them to have one moment to close, and I'm just going to go down the way here and let you reflect on how you're finding hope now and what you're doing to bring that about.
Well, I'm finding hope in my work with formerly incarcerated black women and girls. I've had a great opportunity to lead an internship program at the University of Texas at Austin, where I teach, where my students intern with formerly incarcerated black women leaders, like some of the women who are, dear to this community, Susan Burton and Tony Willis. Well, no, we haven't done work with Tony yet, but we're getting there. Pauline Rogers, other people that I see in this room. So having my students have the opportunity to learn from formerly incarcerated black women leaders, to see black women leading, because the bottom line is formerly incarcerated black women are leading the fight for freedom and justice. And I'm really excited to see, how people who are justice involved are being uplifted in these spaces, and how even universities such as my own in Texas, and y'all know we have all kinds of problems. Like, I don't even have to get into it, but the fact that this exists as an opportunity for me gives me, hope for the future, and that future generations can learn from people who are justice involved.
I think I'm just going to build on that really quickly, just to say that I had no idea what I was coming to when I said yes to the wonderful Charlene. And I am so glad. My rule is say yes to what black women ask you to do. And, and so Charlene called me and said, I need you here. And I said yes. And this gives me hope. All of you give me hope. I came from being with another group in Nevada, and every time it's an affirmation that this work is really not up to us, but we're so connected that the next step is already there for us when we just listen. And so what gives me hope is whatever the universe that is guiding us every time, that we're on the right path. And if you're going to be an organizer in this moment, you have to trust that you have a calling that is bigger than yourself.
I think what gives me hope is, first, I think we are seeing ourselves become more connected in our thinking and in our analysis. It's a beautiful place to talk about a free Palestine. It's a beautiful place to talk about abolishing ICE. It's a beautiful place to end family policing. It's a beautiful place to shut down prisons, to close Rikers, right? And those aren't conversations that are separate as much as I think that they were, which means that if we are starting to pull them together, our strategies at this moment are going to be clearer. It also gives me hope that we are going to build connection. It gives me hope when I see children dancing and hearing and listening, right? I think our only option right now is to get out and come together. That is going to require us to be around people in different phases of political awakening and struggle. And we are going to have to create those ladders, and I see those ladders being built. And you're going to have to go outside, right? And we are here. So this gives me hope, right? We want to build it. And that energy is here. And it gives me so much immense hope that is actually what keeps me going. Because seeing young people, I'm unwilling for the young people that are here to have any other future that's even a second less good than what I've lived right now. So we have a mandate, and we have to follow that.
I want to concur that brilliant, bold, brazen, beautiful sister of mine named Dr. Charlene St. Clair, I will always say yes to. Always say yes to. And so what gives me hope, you know, in 2010, I began Union Theological Seminary. I had a son. And my son, openly gay, and it's my kinship son, so not my biological son. Openly gay, he did HIV prevention work. He was open about his HIV status. He lived with me for 4 years. And so he's home watching Happy Feet with his partner. He goes outside to take out the trash. He comes back in. And he's upset for whatever reason. And they begin having a conversation. He said, I'm tired of working so hard, sitting on the corner making all this money, and I can't make no money. It de-escalated, and then he said, well, let me go to bed. Can you come to bed with me? And so the partner said, well, let me finish watching Happy Feet. The partner went to sleep on the couch overnight and woke up to my son's alarm clock. And he called in the room, and my son didn't answer, so he goes in the room. And my son had taken hair clippers, shaved off his facial hair, shaved off the hair on his head, and hung himself from a ceiling fan. And he wrote on Facebook that I can no longer live in a world that's grown so cold to those who live out of social norm. But Dr. Charlene St. Clair, that black woman, when I started Union, was there for me. And she opened up the space, particularly around mass incarceration, to be in dialogue with LGBTQ folk. And so what gives me hope is Dr. Charlene St. Clair is still doing this work.
Thank you, Charlene. Where are you? Oh, there you are. Thank you all for your patience, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the evening. Beyond the Bars, here we are.
One more time, Aaron Miles Cloud, Michael Robinson, Sulma Arias, Talitha LaFloria, and Gina Dent. I don't know about y'all, but I could have heard them go on for another hour at very least. I was like, did somebody check the time? Was that an hour? Did that feel like an hour to y'all? Yeah, it didn't feel like an hour to me at all. You know what? I want to invite a special guest presenter to come up with me. Jabari, do you want to come up? I don't know if y'all remember when I was big pregnant up here. It seems like almost yesterday, but this is my little guy. What's your name?
Jabari.
Right, but who? Jabari who?
I'm Jabari Brown.
You're Jabari Brown. I don't know this deep voice that Jabari just got all of a sudden. Jabari Brown. But Jabari is such a sweet kid, and Jamaica had been around so often, right? That like I feel like you guys might not know Jabari. Jabari said, you know, he was sitting there and he said, you know what, I want to say something. And I was like, well, tonight? Like, we didn't talk about that. I mean, but I imagine there's something we could have you do. And I thought, well, what better than to introduce our New York City public advocate? Okay, we talked about this, y'all. Like, do we know? All right, I'm gonna try it again. What better than to introduce our New York City public advocate? Yes. So, Jabari, I'm gonna have you. Jabari's been practicing his reading in ELA. I'm gonna have Jabari read this for you.
Tribute to remark from New York City Public Advocate Jamani Williams.
Oh, God. Can you go down for a little bit? No? Okay. All right. Peace and blessing. Love and light, everybody. How you doing? This is an awesome church. I don't know how y'all heat it up, but it's awesome. Thank you so much to Cheryl Wilkins. Thank you, Reverend Varghese, and all the folks who helped organize this. I really appreciate the moment to speak. And you pull my coattail when I go too long, because I had some prepared remarks. But, you know, I want to say some words, because I know we're talking about this time we're in. Everybody take a breath. One more time. I'm a person of faith, so I believe the Most High is still in charge, and my ancestors are up there watching out and paving the way for us. But I always want to, when I get into big places, and this is the choir, but I do know one of the reasons we're in this mess is because too many of us drank the orange Kool-Aid that was being sold. And I just want to be honest about that so we can get out of that situation. There may not be folks here, but too many folks who should not have believed that it was going to happen to the other person and that wasn't going to happen to us. And it's always us. So I want to make sure we don't make that mistake again, because we keep making it over and over in history. I do want to thank black women, almost 90%, who voted against this and did the best thing that they could. And irrespective of what the news said, too many of our black brothers stayed home, but almost 80%, over 80% of them voted against this as well. So those demographics really came up and showed out. Well, we have to learn, and when I say everybody, has to include everybody, and as was mentioned, that has to include our trans siblings, because we can't leave anyone behind. And when I'm speaking to folks who look like me, I say the price of our humanity can't be, you all right? The price of our humanity can't cost somebody else theirs, and so we have to make sure everybody is included. Who's going to No Kings tomorrow? I hope to see y'all out there at the No Kings. But I also want to mention, sometimes, you know, I don't see too many black folks out there, and I want people to understand why. One, folks are tired. Two, it is also more dangerous for them. And three, they've been fighting this for a very, very long time. Some people are just catching up. And so I want to make sure people don't think away of why folks out there. We have been out there. Cops have been shooting at black folks. We've been dealing with this issue for a long time. The authoritarianism part is really just settling to communities that have never dealt with this. So I want people to move in grace and understanding. But I hope to see y'all out there, and we got to make sure we speak to that man loudly and clearly. If it's okay, I wanted to read a couple of words from my inauguration, because I think they're very apropos here. And you just pull me and let me know when I've gone too far or too much. Can I put you down for a second, baby? No? Okay. All right. So I know that some folks are feeling on empty, and so I know some places like this help recharge. But this is a moment to recharge with our fellow activists, because we've seen so much harm and we felt so much pain. And yet we have also seen so many people step up, do what they can with what they have, support those with less resources or greater needs, strength through love. That comes from compassion, and it's inspirational. Activism is at once invigorating, it's also exhausting to keep up, to keep showing up. Like so many things, it's contradiction. This is a country of enormous wealth and enduring poverty, of the greed of some and the generosity of many, of darkness and light. I've seen the darkness, but I'm not consumed by it, because I look at the people who are here and see so much light. The powers and places would rather create an other to blame for our problems than address them, whether it be our immigrant communities or our trans siblings or our homeless New Yorkers or many marginalized groups. Rejecting those ideas means naming the reason that the powers in place perpetuate them. Because if we're divided, the status quo stands. We cross new cultural borders through each subway stop and are introduced to new experiences through each passenger. Our possibilities come in every language, from every heritage. So do our prayers, so do our people, so does our power. We've shown it in the face of oligarchy and authoritarianism, neighbors standing with neighbors across boroughs and backgrounds to defend immigrant communities and feed hungry families. Fighting against authoritarianism and violence won't be easy. It never has been, and I can't tell you how it will all work out, but I know we're going to create a world that's better for my daughter. Yet I believe it's possible to make great progress because I've seen it through my years in the building that we're in the streets before us. I have been in our movement, and I see things move. I believe in this possibility, and I get your time right there, I'll wrap up, that with the people, the tools, the passion, and the compassion that we need, we can meet the moment and create the change. We can look into the unknown and see opportunity. That's the thing about uncertainty. Anything can happen. That means anything can happen. And our neighbors in Brazil adopted a motto that I've tried to embody, which is no one let go of anyone's hands, because if we're all connected, we can't lose anyone. And so we all hold hands together and we reach out our hand to someone else who we might fear, but make sure they don't slip through the cracks. Because if you let them slip through the cracks, someone who fears you might let you slip through the cracks. And so I don't know what's ahead, but I know we have to hold on. And as we march forward, no one let go of anyone's hands. And I had something that I've been sharing about a year ago from an unlikely source. It was RuPaul. And I'm usually not looking at RuPaul, but I was looking at RuPaul, and they had an amazing quote that has given me strength since that day, which was, it's okay to look into the darkness, just don't stare at it. So please take a moment to look away, look at your friend, hold a hand, have a hug, enjoy the sunshine, enjoy the flowers. There's still beautiful things going on. We can fight, love, and have fun at the same time. Appreciate your peace and love, peace and blessing, love and light to you all. Thank you so much.
Wait, can y'all hear me okay? Is this already, this one work? Is it on? Okay. Well, give it up for our public advocate, Jumaane Williams, and that beautiful ray of light that you are carrying with you. So, I wanted y'all to really believe me when I said that I take my job as Yolanda Jr. seriously. Right? This is Yolanda. Right? I think, well, we'll see. I won't ruin it for you. Because Yolanda has an array of these, I imagine, that are like on heads, like in your grandma's closet, right? And so I said, what better tribute than to do a Yolanda hair moment, right? So I have the distinct pleasure of welcoming a really amazing performance, one that features another one of my offspring, Jamaica, right? And so let me just tell you about Right to Heal, right? In addition from being just composed, like I said that the last plenary was my favorite people, and they are my favorite people. I'm not gonna take that away from you. They are definitely my favorite people. But my other favorite people, right? So Right to Heal is an initiative with the Center for Justice at Columbia University in collaboration with incarcerated and formerly incarcerated women in New York and Maine that encourages women to write and to share their own stories. Right to Heal sees art as a form of activism to grow and solidify our collective imagination. They've performed all over the world, including in Nairobi, Kenya, in Brooklyn, in Louisville, and in Portland, Maine. So welcome, Right to Heal.
living. I believe in the spectrum of beta days and gamma people. I believe in sunshine, in windmills and waterfalls and tricycles and rocking chairs. I believe that seeds grow into sprouts and sprouts into trees. I believe in the magic of the hands and in the wisdom of the eye. I believe in rain and tears and in the blood of infinity. I believe in life. I have seen the death parade march through the torso of the earth, sculpting mud bodies in its path. I have seen the destruction of the daylight, seen bloodthirsty maggots prayed to and saluted. I have seen the kind become the blind, and the blind become the bind. In one easy lesson, I have walked on cut glass. I have eaten crow and blunder bread, and I have breathed the stench of indifference. I have been locked by the lawless, handcuffed by the haters, gagged by the greedy. And if I know anything at all, is that a wall is just a wall and nothing more at all. It can be broken down. Yes. I believe in life. I believe in birth, in the sweat of love, and in the fire of truth. And I believe that a lost ship steered by tired, seasick sailors can still be guided back home to port.
In the marrow of my bones, I felt the community shift, as if a curtain had been pulled back from a hidden truth. Suddenly, I could taste the bitter reality of injustice in the air, the kind that lingers for generations like a shadow. I saw the lines that divided the privileged from the oppressed, the lines drawn not just on the streets, but in the hearts of those who've been told to remain silent. In that moment, I realized silence was no longer an option. I was awakened by the stories of those who came before, by the fire of the ancestor who had dared to dream of freedom. I am Asada, the awakening, because my eyes are open and I see not just the world as it was, but the world as it could be.
Repeat after me. I am Asada.
I am Asada.
Because my eyes are open.
My eyes are open.
But they can never lock away my integrity, my self-worth, my self-esteem, my spirit. In the solitude of those prison walls, I dig deep in the fire within my soul, the love for my children, the love for my family, and the love for myself. They can never remove. I thought about all the sisters who came before me, who fought and endured. And now I'm part of a legacy called Beyond the Bars.
Yeah, yeah!
I am Asada. Because of the struggle, I endured and I survived. Repeat after me. I am Asada.
I am Asada.
Because I endured and I survived.
Because I endured and I survived. Because I endured and I survived. Because I endured and I survived. Because I endured and I survived.
Yo, I walk with the spirit of my ancestors, Harriet Tubman and Sojourner Truth, feeling their strength as it resonates through time. Each step that I take is like a dance with their spirits. Each word I speak is an echo of their courage. In my veins runs the legacy those who refuse to be silent, those who turned their pain into power and their hope, they turned that into a revolution. I am the living, breathing legacy of all those that came before. I am the one that represents Asada today. I am Asada, a legacy of a revolution, of resistance, and I'm the one who carries the flame now of all those who fought and labored, all those whose dreams were deferred but not denied, all those who dared to believe and found freedom. I am Asada, and I carry the flame.
I am Asata, and I carry the flame.
In the quiet moments, when the world falls silent and the night stretches long, I remember the faces of those who I love. And the personal cost to this journey is etched in spaces between longing and sacrifice. And in moments of tenderness held back and love put on hold. Yet even in this sacrifice, I find a deeper reason, a reason that transcends my own desires. I am Asada, and the personal cost of my journey is because I have given of myself so that one day others will walk free. I am Asada, and the personal cost is because I gave of myself.
I am Asada, because I gave of myself. I dream a world where justice flows like a river, where the seeds of our struggle blossom into a garden of freedom. We stand here today holding Asata's dreams and our dreams, because collectively those dreams shape our future. As we continue to move forward in our dreams, we make sure that we stand tall as Asata. We stand here to make sure that we carry the struggle forward. We are Asata because we believe that no one dreams should be broken. Every dream should be set free and no one should be chained or bound. We are Asata, the dream forward. We are Asata, the dream forward.
We are
Asata, the dream forward.
Repeat after me. We are Asata.
We are Asata.
Because our eyes are open.
Because
our eyes are open.
We are Asata.
We are Asata.
We endured and we survived.
We endured and we survived.
We are Asata.
We are Asata.
Because we carry the flame.
Because we carry the flame.
We are Asada.
We are Asata.
Because we gave of ourselves.
Because we gave of ourselves.
We are Asata.
We are Asata.
Because we dream forward.
Because we dream forward.
Where's Taj?
Come on, let's go.
Where's Taj at?
It's not up.
We gotta wait for Betsy.
Cool.
Oh, it's not coming up?
Oh, there he is. Come on. Come on.
Taj.
Oh, yeah.
Come on.
Come on, we gotta go back.
We love you, Betsy.
Yo.
Love you, Betsy.
Come on, let's go. Point to them.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay.
Come on.
Yes.
Appreciate y'all.
All right.
Am I doing this? So I am Asata because I dream forward. And I'm glad my hat didn't fall off. So she called the baby up here. Wasn't that nice? Because that's the future. But she was trying to play me with that wig, wasn't she? Okay. And she was right. I do have quite a few. But you know what? We in the church. Y'all give her a round of applause for the church. Where Reverend Wendy at? Thank you, Reverend Wendy. So since we in the church, I'm going to have a little special surprise, too. I'm going to call on my pastor, the Reverend Marvin Abram, is here from Brooklyn, New York. Come on, Pastor. Yes! I got a special surprise, too. And he's going to help me introduce the next person. Uh-huh. Come on, Pastor. Come on up here. Let them see you. Uh-huh. That's right. You know you used to a mic. Now, who do we have next coming on up for this conversation? Uh-huh. Who's that? What that's? Yeah, you know. You got to take that mic. You know how you do in church. Where's your church at?
It's in Brownsville.
Uh-huh.
Is Brownville's in the house? Is Brooklyn in the house? Is Harlem in the house? Can somebody make some noise? Oh, I can't hear you.
All right, let's go. So the next conversation is rooted.
Rooted in spirit, grounded in dignity.
Yes.
A conversation with all faith leaders.
Yes, let's call them up. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Can we get some chairs for our next conversation? Give my pastor a round of applause. Come on, come on. Y'all lucky he gave his mic back. We'd have got a collection plate. Yes, give the brothers a round of applause for bringing up them chairs real quick. Now, we only going to be here a little while. Look, come on, come on. Yes, sister, come on up. Yes. Give Right to Heal a round of applause. Yes, this is Reverend Wendy coming on up. Yes, come on up. Come on, make yourself feel at home. Uh-huh. Amen. Give a little hug. Everybody get up and hug the person next to them. Get up and hug the person. Come on, tell them hello. Come on, y'all know y'all got to anticipate. Hug somebody. Hug somebody. May not be here tomorrow. You never know. Tomorrow's not promised. Yes. Yes. We in church. Have a little faith. Yes. Okay, thank you very much. We got to move forward. Sit on down. Come on. Okay, we're going to pass it to you. Thank you so much.
All right. So we're going to root ourselves. And for me to begin, I'm going to start with Bismillah Rahman Rahim. The divine is merciful and compassionate. Whatever your faith practice is, or not faith, maybe it's human rights, maybe it's some faith tradition, take a second in your heart, mind, so quietly, ground and root yourself in your practice. Is it grace? Is it gratitude? Is it loving kindness in Buddhist tradition? Whatever your practice is, we're going to turn towards how does faith inspire and ground us in the struggle, in the movement, and the transformation. So as I change and have this conversation with our amazing guests, I'm fangirling both, so I'm going to try to keep it demure, quiet, and but ground yourself. So let's take a second. If it's a breath, if it's calling Jesus, Allah, the prophet, whatever it is, just take a moment. Put your feet on the ground. You are here. We are here together. Hug, touch, whatever you need. 1 second to do that. Just to kind of be in the awe of this space. This cathedral is literally divine. Because we're going to turn now to our amazing speakers. So I'm just going to do like a one sentence because these are amazing people. Reverend Winnie, you know. I just know it's Winnie. So I was like, Dean Reverend Winnie. And so has a wonderful bio, but is the Reverend Dean of this amazing, awesome cathedral. As also as the first Indian, queer, woman of color of descent in this position. Just, yes. I know I said to ground yourself, but don't fall asleep, okay? And we have Desmond Meade, who's the founder of the Florida Rights Restoration Coalition. Woo! He was responsible in Florida for the restoration of over 1.4 million disenfranchised voters. There's more to their bio, but I want to, as Desmond said, let's get to it, right? So, how does faith, traditions inform and shape your views on accountability and dignity? If there are specific parts of the tradition or language, if you can kind of bring that forth so we begin to have a vocabulary around some of this conversation. We want faith to be grounded and our talk to be grounded. So how does faith shape your ideas of accountability and dignity? Reverend Winnie, yeah. It's your home, so.
So good to be with you. So in the kind of work I do, I could spend all my time worrying about what Jamani Williams pointed out is that we have to heat this place and keep it standing. And someone else said it's the biggest church they've ever been in. It's because it's the biggest church. Like, this is the largest Gothic cathedral in the world. So please do take a moment to be in this space that you're in. Part of the work of buildings like this is they call out what is sacred, and they call out what is sacred in us, and they call us to look at sanctity. So please take advantage of that while you're here if you can. I've been thinking about Jesus a lot recently because, as we always do in my position, but also Palm Sunday. It is Palm Sunday on Sunday.
Yes.
It's Holy Week next week. For those of you that haven't heard the story of Jesus, and many have not, Jesus was arrested and tried and convicted and tortured and abused and murdered by the state. He was executed. That is the central story of the Christian faith, that God comes among us by choice, is what we're told. God chooses to be with us like us because we are so lost. Comes to us. And the way I was taught it, God could choose however God wanted to come to us. I actually believe it's that there was only one way God could come to us, was as a person vulnerable to the state. And that's the central story of our faith. So how does my faith create accountability? My faith, for me, creates accountability because these stories are of marginalized people, of enslaved people, of arrested people, of crucified people, of imprisoned people. Paul writes from prison. Remember that? The prison letters. From prison. Yes. Right? I don't know how we cannot feel accountable if we read these texts.
Yep. Thank you. Desmond.
So I do believe that, when you talk about a person's faith or their faith, right, that part of that is shaped in their journey. And so as a person who, I like to say, was at the depths of hell, homeless, unemployed, hooked on drugs, and contemplating suicide, to travel from that space to the space where I am now today, it helps shape that, right? And the things that in that journey that sticks out more than anything is verses like, if you love me, you feed my lamb. If you love me, you feed my sheep. And so much as you have done to the least among you, that's what you've done to me, right? And so basically those scriptures, along with 1 Corinthians 13, which I think is an amazing chapter, and they call it the love chapter, that basically says that, you could do all these beautiful things. You could have the best voice. You could preach the best sermon. You could treat your pastor the best. But if you don't have love for that person that's in prison, or if you don't have love for that person that, you ready for this, that you actually hate or despise, then all of that is worthless. It's like sounding brass, a tingling cymbal. And so what it tells me is, as a person that's been through something, as a person that's been incarcerated, as a person that has done wrong, as a person that has harmed people, that I must, and my faith holds me accountable into showing grace and mercy to others.
Thank you.
Right?
Very important.
And I'm reminded that, like, a lot of us that had some kind of upbringing, say, in the Christian tradition, one of the things that locks us in is that we say it all the time, the Lord's Prayer, right? Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And then for your lawyers out here, there's a part where it gets now real dicey because we're coming to contractual terms now, right? Because it says, forgive us for our debts as we forgive our debtors, which means, God, I want you to forgive me, but only if I'm willing to forgive that other person, right? God, I want you to forgive my trespasses, but only if I forgive those who trespass against me. And so that, if nothing else, locks me in the accountability, because if I want the grace and mercy, then I'm accountable to extending it to others, especially not the ones that just make me feel good, but the ones that may even want to hurt me, the ones that may want to kill me, right? The ones that I may not like what they're doing, but as another child of God, I must extend that grace. Because if I don't, then I'm in default of that contract, and it can get revoked at any time.
I think that's so beautiful about love, mercy, and compassion. Love, mercy, and compassion. And each of you are talking about using the faith tradition with a story of inclusion versus exclusion. And just to share in the Islamic tradition, I think a lot of times when we talk about faith, we forget that the Prophet Muhammad was raised essentially by, people don't know that, by Abyssinian Ethiopian black women, because his mother died when he was very little. The first person to accept the faith was actually someone named Bilal, because his voice was so beautiful. And just thinking about the performances earlier, and he was anointed as the special companion of the Prophet. So I think that we have to kind of tell these stories of inclusion and compassion to fight. But how do we do that when we're facing a context where the right is utilizing faith to actually exclude, right? How do we tell our stories? How do we concretize it? My sister Erin was saying, got to get into the strategy of struggle, right? So how do we do that? I mean, I think it's beautiful and we can share these stories, but how do we sort of fight back with a story of these exclusion that we're seeing right now? So maybe why don't you start with Desmond and Reverend?
Well, I mean, I think there's a thing about how organized lie can defeat disorganized truth or something like that, right? One of the things that I've learned is, and Dr. Martin Luther King talks about it, right? That darkness can't drive out darkness, right? Hate can't drive out hate. Fear cannot drive out fear. And so I think it's very important that you do not get caught up in reciprocating that which you say you despise, right? And so when you respond to hatred with hatred, right, you just perpetuate more hatred. I do believe that you respond with love, and I think that is the most powerful message. How we respond, right, to falsehoods, how we respond to hatred, I think actually neutralizes the falsehood. It's when we get caught up in the rhetoric, and then, they say that when you argue with a fool, it's hard to tell the difference, right? And so we don't argue with them. We just I would take that higher ground. And it's, I think at the end of the day, some people may, purport to say that they're acting in their faith, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they are. And so therefore, I'm not going to accept the fact that that's what they're doing is what faith is all about. There could be deceivers. The Bible talks about that. And so, because I believe you know a tree by the fruit it bears. And if that tree is not bearing good fruit, then I'm not even going to legitimize that tree by even trying to call it a fruit tree.
Amen. I love that. I think what the religious right and white Christian nationalists show us in our country is the power of faith. They're not showing us faith, they're showing us the power of our faith. And I think we are foolish to give up faith, the pursuit of the ultimate, the moral imaginary, to people who are just using it for another purpose. That is not recognizable Christianity. I also went to Union Theological Seminary, so I have yeah. You can hear who went to Union, all right? But the moral imaginary is how we decide who we can be together. right? So if the point of our faith traditions is freedom, right? Salvation, the other way to think of the word salvation is freedom. And we also have there are a lot of resources within all of our traditions around how our communities can be organized for the most justice. To put that down and to speak only a secular language, I think, I just heard this quote recently, I think it's Vincent Lloyd that says this, right? Is like the great fallacy that we give up faith because people are abusing faith. We give up the pursuit of the ultimate, right? Because others are abusing the frame of that pursuit. I don't know if I agree with it or not, but I like it a lot, right? I think it's what this building calls out for some of us is, there's something so much greater than what is happening right around us, than the forces and powers of evil around us. And there is, I think, something mystical about the power of evil. It is deep. It feels profound and something that has to be cast out as well as organized against and fought. And that language and understanding is in our ancient texts. And I think it's accurate and it is illustrated in these times. So I think there's a power in our vocabulary, and I don't mean to just use it, to operationalize it like the right is doing. I think for those of us for whom it drives, we should be in the work of creating a moral imaginary on ours. And everyone doesn't have to believe what we believe. And I don't think our job is to make a whole bunch more Christians or Episcopalians, though you're very welcome to join us here, right? But we should be in the work of pursuing freedom for people, right? But that collective, beautiful language is part of our heritage that we should not give up.
Yeah, I mean, we don't give up love when other people misuse the word love. Or have bastardized it. We have to hold on to the essence of what we know, that agape love, right? Yes. And holding on to that powers us through.
And I think, and another, I guess, step on that, absolutely, right, is that faith is motivating. And even for people that don't agree with us, like we see this in the civil rights movement, everybody wasn't a super Christian. But the vision that cast for who we could be, that we could actually be a nation that was not segregated, was a bizarre vision at the time, right? Like the capacity to hold a vision greater than we should be able to dream. Faith is one of the tools for that.
So
this
is the best job as a moderator.
Right? Because and I think you kind of stimulated something here, because you can't hold on to your faith without faith. If you don't believe, and if you're not walking in the confidence, right, that your faith will power you through, then it's going to be hard to hold on to it, and it's going to be easy to let someone else, right, now reshape what faith is all about. And so I think that there's an element of faith that have to be present in order for us to really have these conversations and to be able to walk in our faith tradition.
So I want to now turn to a little bit maybe pushing and challenging us a little bit. And I want to also hold the comment about we don't give up on love, not to give up the space. So first, it's easy to kind of get the story of the opposition, authoritarianism, but sometimes we have to also tell our fellow organizers, those we're working with, about these stories. Let's talk about accountability and punishment, and how in the criminal legal system, accountability leads to carceral results, right? Compassion could just be, well, we're just going to make a better criminal legal jail system. We're not going to close it, right? So what does faith provide us in maybe guiding us through these questions about abolition versus, we would just make prisons better and just in different locations, versus actually, and to be full disclosure, for me, is to entirely abolish that system of punishment. So what does faith help us to guide us? We may need to have borough prisons, but ultimately, the vision, for me at least, is to move away from a justice system that is punitive and carceral. What does faith provide us in that query? Because that's like a conversation amongst ourselves, right? So I was wondering, that's why Charlene was like, Yes.
I mean, that
Now we're gonna get down to it, but we'll have 5 more minutes probably.
Okay, I think that is a good question. I think part of this thing is to have to be what is driving this, right? What is driving any of these, whether it's abolition or whether it's a reshaping of the carceral system, right? What is at its core? And then I'll go back to the Bible, right? And you know, early on in my days, I used to tell folks that the best way of explaining love to someone is by using that verse that says, wanting for your neighbor what you want for yourself, right? And how, you know, like if you're talking about, say, juvenile justice, right? And somebody said, well, what kind of policies you want to implement, Devin? Well, I'm like, well, listen, I'm not a juvenile justice expert, but where I would start at is that I would ask myself, how would I want my son to be treated if they did something wrong at school? And when we start from that space, not from an othering space, but a space is that is me there. Like the great philosopher Elmer Fudd said, it ain't fun when the rabbit got the gun, right? And so let's come from a space about where would I or how would I want my loved one to be treated. And when we can operate from that space, because sometimes we may be, oh yeah, he needs to get punished, but this is the way I would punish someone who I love, right? Or he needs to be held accountable for his actions, and this is how I would hold him accountable. And when we come from that, as opposed to trying to hold somebody else accountable, then we're coming from a much better space.
Yeah, I think it means something that jail and prison and breaking chains is in the Bible so often. You know, and never on the side of the prison, right? I mean, it's in there. It's interesting what's not in there. Like, there's not a lot about the queers, frankly, but there's a lot about prison, a lot. And there's a lot about money, right? And so I think it's interesting, right? Like how the text works. But in terms of accountability, you know, what the tradition I come from teaches is there are no disposable people. And what is jail, but thinking that there are people that are disposable, that can be put away, you know, for the rest of their living. And we are, like the tradition tells us, to pursue and respect the dignity of every human being. Yes. That's a tough one. That's a really tough one. But there's no way that incarceration is in support of that. Now, people absolutely make mistakes, and I have met people that are actually quite dangerous, and they would say they feel dangerous in the world. Working that out is part of our work, right? That's part of our work. But I think putting them in a box for the rest of their lives is probably not the solution from a Christian perspective, right? So but I also want to, I got to interview Judge Lippman when I first started to do some Rikers work, but I was in a different role, and I interviewed Judge Lippman because there was a commission working on this. It's a very hopeful time. And he said that he was secular, so not a practicing Jew. And he quoted Isaiah to me. I don't know if that was on purpose or not for the entire interview, because the text is so full of stories of freedom from essentially incarceration and chains. So I think there's a lot to be said there for what doesn't work, and what, frankly, in our tradition, what God is for, which is for freedom from that. And there's a lot of writing about how you organize a society towards that kind of dignity, and that there will always be people in need or that require extra support, and our responsibility to them. Now, everything isn't held in that text, but I think it's a really powerful starting point.
You know, I think in addition to that, too, I appreciate that, Reverend Winnie, but I think in addition to that, we have to be very careful about getting too far ahead, right, of our communities, right? And we cannot paint false pictures, right? Because I'm gonna keep it 100. I've been incarcerated before, and I met some people that scared the living opposite of heaven out of me, right? And made the hair on my hands just rising. And I'm like, in my head, I hope this cat never gets out. This cat I do not want around people, because there's some people that have a mentally depraved mind, right? And we have to struggle with that. Now, I'm not saying that person deserves to be incarcerated for the rest of their lives, and I definitely believe that person should not be treated subhuman-like, right? They have to be treated with dignity no matter what they do, but then how do we respond to that? And we cannot I don't think that the public or I even Miss Sally Mae at the corner is ready for someone to be like, that guy that is like terrorizing the folks, right, is out. And I do know the story of Saul before he became Paul. Like, if Saul was alive today, I think everybody would be screaming that he'd be buried underneath the jail, because he was public enemy number one, right? But then that's that same guy that God chose.
That seems to be what happened.
Okay, and so I think that there's something that we have to struggle with and find that little niche, a nuance that helps convert.
Yeah, and so if you're, I mean, maybe if you're in politics, you can't get ahead of your people, for sure. But I'm a priest. Like, my job is to get ahead of the people. That is the job. And so the great vision is, yes, I mean, not at all like your experience. I have met some people that the world is a dangerous place if they're on their own. And some of them are elected in our nation, right? So But the thing we need to be, I think the other piece to think about in terms of getting ahead of people is, all dysfunctional behavior usually is reflective of the society we've created. Yes. And part of what the faith traditions tell us is that we're not just alive for this life, right? Like, we are building far into the future for our descendants, right? In the same way that we inherit. And so what kind of world do we want to be about building where there's less cause for people to be so harmed that they are truly dangerous to people around them? And what correctives do we have, frankly, so that kind of harm is not our leadership?
Yeah, and I think that's, it's a great segue to, I want to get a little bit into this, like, what does that care and restorative approach look like? I mean, where community are at, what's the visioning? And I would say that all of us have to do that inner work. I don't think it's just, definitely as a reverend for sure, but we and the movement have to do that inner work, right? I think a lot of us in the labor movement, that's my work, we're reeling from the allegations of sexual abuse, harm in our movements. And so we have to contend with how do we deal with the harm in our movements, the structural and whatnot. So I want to shift as a wind down. What does that look like? What might a politics or a movement of care, of restoration look like? This is the visioning part. In my faith tradition, it's there's two types of forgiveness. There's like the little one, the little mistakes, right? And in Islam, and there's ghafur, which is like, you made a big mistake, and before you meet Allah, you have to contend with that. But all mistakes are forgiven. Everything is forgiven. And that is a really hard place to get to. How do we get to that place? Because I think if you can't get to that place, look at the person that we think, oh my gosh. But we're also dangerous too. We are capable of creating harm. So I am also might be dangerous. It may be in different ways, right? So how do we get to that difficult internal and external space of really embodying care politics, restoration? Yes, we know it's difficult to get there, right? When a loved one hurts us, that stings. When someone is a stranger, right? So I want to wind down to think about how do we get to that path, or get our community or members and neighbors to that path.
Happy to start this one, because you'll have more to say than I do.
Yeah.
I think it's, so I work in the church, so, you don't have to guess. I mean, there's absolutely harm in the institution, and we inherit a history of that harm. And there's no way that in any place where anyone has authority over others, that there's going to be someone that's abusive in that space, and that's definitely part of our heritage, and abusive in horrible, like in the big ways, and also in the small ways that there are vulnerable people in our communities, right? And church can be really bad at this because we want to be about freedom and love and second chances. We are about forgiveness. We are a place where people choose to come that want to harm people, like even if they're not thinking about that consciously. And so it's a big part of our work to be clear that we are loving, we're forgiving, we believe in mercy, and we have really strong boundaries. And we are very careful about and we're very intentional about how we think about people that have access to vulnerable people, all those, all those things. And so in the same way, I think in the world, just because we love someone doesn't, it may be part of loving someone is we're not going to let them harm another person.
Yes.
And that we have to do that. We have to do that work and be really clear-minded about that.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah,
We might have to end with this.
You said
this
that was
question.
a wind-down question. That looks like a build-up question, because it's just so many layers to that, right? And part of it. So when I'm thinking about that, the question, I'm also what's in my head is like you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink, right? And so I think the best thing that we can do is create that space of grace and forgiveness, right? But, like I say, it takes two to tangle. It also takes two to actually bury that. So we have to acknowledge the fact that harm has been done, and the person that has committed the harm have to be willing to acknowledge that part. I think one of my sisters that came up here from Florida, Jody Pope, she does that participatory defense work, right? And that was some of the things that we've seen her bring to Florida, where you had a person who perpetuated the harm that was willing to face the person who they harmed, and that person who got harmed was willing to face that person, and they were able to sit down and they were able to work that out. I think we create that space. I got to tell a quick story. A story that I just discovered like last night about this, the first black pilot that was shot down in Vietnam. His name was, I think, Lieutenant Colonel Perry. And he was shot down during the Vietnam War, and they was abusing him when he was captivated. And in the abuse, they kept showing him images of what was happening in the country. Say, your own country don't even care about you and your people. Just make a statement saying how racist America is, and he wouldn't do it. They broke his arms, he broke his collarbone, and then they threw him in a cell, and they put a racist white pilot in there with him, because they was expecting that pilot to kill him, right? And something like beautiful happened. That pilot nursed him back to health, right? When they wanted that Klansman who didn't even believe that blacks should even be pilots, right, and would call him the N-word, just because of the space that was there, he nursed him back to health. And when this guy was talking about the black dude, he was like, yeah, people thought I saved him, but he actually saved me. And so I think that we can't force people to reconcile the harm, but what we can do is create the space and allow that to happen through osmosis.
So we're at time. I know it's just a wonderful conversation. I just want to give gratitude to Charlene, who kind of really invited us. But I wanted to give Reverend Winnie, this is your home. We're guests. If you had any final words, and then with that we'll end.
I'm still thinking about that question. So I feel like the one thing I want to make sure I say, because I think it's important for church to say this, is I think it's a part of what I think it's what you're saying as well, but it's different, a little bit different. It's just the church needs to say this. Is we too have a theology of we are forgiven, and it's supposed to give us the grace in ourselves, because most of us are beating ourselves up for things that happen to us, not things we've done. That's the truth. And so it's the grace to can we let go of shame? Can we stand as forgiven people? That's that. But let us not ever confuse that with, if you are being harmed, that you are being told to forgive when someone is not seeking forgiveness. So people can be in communion with God, and they is our teaching, but that doesn't mean they're in communion with you if they're harming you. So, and it is not our job to pretend we're God. So if the church ever say, let us not be confused, that it is our responsibility to forgive in that way. That's all.
Thank you so much. Let's give a hand of applause for our months of guests. All right? Thank you. I love your boots. Oh my God.
Oh my God. Thank you again. Can we give it up again for that last panel? I think a lot about how easy it is to despair in moments like this. And I feel like I go back and forth from moments of very, very, very deep despair and moments of optimism. And so this last panel just really reminded me of sort of that very internal place, right, that we draw our optimism from. And I was heartened at how many times I heard the word care this evening. Right? I heard care across almost every panel, almost every person that spoke used the word care. And in my work, I often talk about care, and I say that care is almost the most radical thing that we can do in this moment. Right? Like quite literally the most radical thing. Like when I think about the moment that we're in, fascism and rising Gina, say it, Gina. Authoritarianism, exactly. Care is like antithetical to that, right? It's antithetical to extraction. It's antithetical to throwing people away. And so I think of care as both a practice, care as a structural commitment, and care as a redistribution of power in this moment. And like care being the vehicle that literally gets us there. And that really is the work of this conference. It's the work of this moment. And it's the work of the movement that we're situated in the middle of. It's okay. It's a long weekend. We got a long time to practice. I'm going to be standing off to the side tomorrow all day doing my mic like this. When I do this. Good job. Good job. All right. So y'all, we have another quick treat for y'all. Don't leave. I heard these people practicing, before you all came in, and I sat and got to listen for a few moments, and I'm like, the ways in which music sort of has an ability to move us beyond the ways that we can do often sort of with just our intellect and our brain. And as much as I could have heard each of these panels go on, I could really hear the voices of the people you're about to hear go on. So bring us home. Songs in the Key of Resistance with Kairos Center.
Thank you. Peace, peace. Y'all still with us? Say yeah. Y'all still with us? Say ashe. My name is Steph Reed. I'm a graduate student at Union Theological Seminary. And I'm proud and honored to represent Songs in the Key of Resistance, or SCORE. That is our collective. We are part of the Kairos Center for Religion, Rights, and Social Justice, which is housed within Union Theological Seminary. So give a round of applause for Kairos and the crew. Songs in the Key of Resistance. The song that we're going to teach you today is called We Are the Movement. It is a love letter to the larger struggle for collective liberation. And I'm going to teach it to you. It's written by the Peace Poets. Give a round of applause for the Peace Poets.
Peace Poets.
We are the movement.
We are the movement.
Liberation moving.
Liberation moving.
For every single human.
For every single human.
We have come to win.
We have come to win.
One more time. We are the movement.
We are the movement.
Liberation moving.
Liberation moving.
For every single human.
For every single human.
We have come to win.
We have come to win.
We are the movement.
We are the movement.
Liberation moving.
Liberation moving.
For every single human.
For every single human.
We have come to win.
We have come to win.
We are the movement. Liberation moving. For every single human, we have come to win. Let me hear you sing. We
are the movement. Liberation
moving. For every single human, we have come. Please stand to your feet. We are the movement. We are the movement. Liberation moving. For every single human, we have come. That's why we
sing. We are the movement.
Liberation movement.
Fill this place with love.
For every single human, we have come to win.
We are the movement.
We are the movement.
Yes, liberation moving for every single human. We have come
to win.
We are the movement.
We are the movement. Liberation moving.
Yes.
For every single human. That's right.
We have come to win.
We have come.
We are the
Can we
movement.
get louder? We are the movement.
Liberation moving for every single human. We have come. We are the movement.
We are the movement. Liberation moving.
For every single human, we have come. We are the movement. For every single human, we have come to win. Make a round of applause for yourselves.
Beautiful.
We are singing this song all through the streets at No Kings. Tomorrow, put your hands in the air if you'll be at No Kings.
If you're going to be with us
Put your hands in
tomorrow,
the air if you'll
sing
be at
with
No
us.
Kings.
All right, No Kings tomorrow. We'll be singing this and out. That's right.
Here, get the. Yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes. We are the movement.
Liberation.
Wait a minute now. Y'all start singing. I know I've been changed. The angels in the heaven done sign my name. Yes, thank you so much for coming. But you got to hear from the person that is our Queen Mother. The person that brought all of us here, the person that's been standing strong for 16 years, the person that thought did not robbery to make sure that we're pushing through. This is not just a night of joy. This is not just a night to come together as sisters and brothers. This is a movement. And it's been a movement all along. We can celebrate, we can shake it, we can sing, but this is about something. This is so that we can be able to push something forward. And you are a part of it. And you're only a part of it because the Queen Mother, and I'm not making that up. For those of you that don't know, we went all the way to Africa to watch her become the Queen Mother. She doesn't like to be shouted out. But we will take a moment to understand that the people all the way in Africa lifted her. Yeah, you should be on your feet. Don't hate. Hey, lifted her so that she can lift us. The incomparable. Let me make sure my co-host say what she want to say. The incomparable. Come on up here. Come on, because we can talk about you while you're up here.
I'm like, I just want to sit here and be a witness.
Hey,
like, right?
the Queen Mother. Take middle stage.
These my sisters, don't mind them. Don't mind them. This is 30 years in the making. I'm super excited. My heart is full. Wearing Kathy's scarf right now just so that she could be here with this moment. I feel her with us. Appreciate everybody. I don't do this by myself. Believe me, I don't. You know, I got people that come through for me at the last minute because I be trying to make things happen when other things fall through. You know, and because of what we built so far with this Beyond the Bars movement, people really grace this stage for us and support us as we are trying to pour into our community. You know, we're not thinking about what's happening now outside the world. We're thinking about what we have right here. If all of us can live in a world in harmony together, you know, we can beat this. We can beat this. So let's make sure that we stay together. We're not fighting and bickering over nonsense. No, let's stay together. Okay? You know, the one thing that gave us the theme of Rooted In was because we wanted to look at where we come from. You know, we wanted to look at, you know, we're rooted in love, we're rooted in community, we're rooted in resistance, you know, and that's what we did. That's what we did here tonight, and that's what we believe in with our Beyond the Bars movement. So I just want to ask a few young folks, what are they rooted in? Because that's why we're here. I think somebody said it earlier. You know, that's why we're here. We're trying to our best to make sure the world is better for them. So, my two young folks here. Yes, come on. What are you rooted in? We are rooted in peace. What are you rooted in? Can everybody say we are rooted in peace? Can everybody say we are rooted in hope?
We are rooted in sacrifice. We are rooted in community.
Should we drop the mic after that? Because there's nothing else to say after that. You know, yo, these folks are amazing, and these are our young folks. This is why we do the work. We appreciate everybody who's been involved in this. St. John's Cathedral, you all have been simply amazing. Reverend Winnie, you didn't drop a hat. And I'll be honest with you. I was like, well, Reverend Winnie, what is your board going to say? She's like, yeah, I deal with her. Yeah, I deal with her. We coming, and we here. So I appreciate everybody that had anything to do with tonight. It's been amazing. Love you all. But this is 2 down, 2 to go. Tomorrow we do have some amazing plenaries. We have some workshops. We have a bunch of organizers and activists is going to really show what they're doing with their work, and all. We want to definitely make those connections. All right. So it's going to be at the School of Social Work. Come through. But for tonight, we're going into Harlem, 116th and Frederick Douglass Boulevard. Go have some food, drinks, because sometimes this can get so heavy. We need to celebrate a little more. Okay? Enjoy yourself. Thank you.
Good night.